What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is another episode of Versus. In this episode, we're comparing the XSHOT Turbo Advance and the Dart Zone Magnum. But first, I'd like to thank this video's sponsor, Vikings War of Clans. Vikings War of Clans resembles top PC strategy games of the 90s and 2000s, which we were all crazy about, and now it's finally on mobile so you can easily play it during a 5-minute break at work or in between classes. Vikings gives you the option to choose your own playstyle, which is super tactical. Dominate by destroying cities on the move, build impregnable fortresses, or use your diplomacy skills to rule the world if you can't fight. Play Vikings for just 5 minutes and see why over 10 million players are so addicted to it. Support my channel by downloading Vikings using the links below and get your initial protection shield for free and my special bonus of 200 golds for a fast and successful start. Gotta get that gold, bruh. Now back to the Versus episode. Let's first discuss what's similar between the blasters before discussing their differences in order to find out which one is better. First, their capacity at 40 rounds. Yeah, they have the exact same capacity, which is a ton of ammo. Keep in mind the XSHOT Turbo Advance does need to manually hit the switch to flip from the first 20 to the second, whereas the Magnum will fire them off continuously. But still, their capacity is 40 rounds. Which is a lot. Next, they're both spring powered, so you don't need to buy batteries or anything else. They'll run all the time. And while their form factors are quite a bit different, their chrono averages are almost the exact same at just about 70 FPS, which is right on par with what you should expect from most dart guns on the market right now. And since neither of these are Nerf blasters, it's also really important to point out both of them are compatible with Nerf Elite darts and all third-party options, meaning Wafflehead darts, because Nerf Elite darts suck, but they're compatible with Wafflehead darts, and that's awesome. And that's the last similarity, in my opinion, of the Turbo Advance and the Magnum. Now to highlight some of the pros of each blaster, starting out with the Turbo Advance. First pro is a big one. It's pump action. That's how you prime this one. That's just an ergonomic thing. So when you're priming, your hand is also in the firing position as opposed to up in the top, where you could prime it and then you want to put your hands kind of somewhere else to actually pull the trigger. This, you don't have to remove your hands from this position to fire off the first 20. Of course, you do have to manually flick that switch. Pump action is a big one for speed, if only this one had slam fire. And very closely related to that, the number 2 pro, in my opinion, is the overall size and ergonomics. Because it's pump action and it's a little bit larger, it's more of a traditional primary, making it kind of more comfortable to carry. Comfortable in the traditional way. It's kind of, you put your both hands on like it's a normal primary long gun, you run around, you pew pew, and it's normal. And those are the 2 major pros of the Turbo Advance in my opinion. Now getting to the pros of the Dart Zone Magnum. First pro, this has slam fire, which I think is kind of funny because the Turbo Advance is pump action, which would traditionally be better fit for slam fire, but this one, being a top prime, has it anyways. And it doesn't have an air restrictor. Because it's a top prime, it is sort of tricky to maintain a high level of precision or accuracy when you're firing with slam fire because your hands are very close together. When your hands are further apart on an object, it would be more stable, but even so, slam fire is a huge advantage, and if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. It still does single fire just fine. Next pro, while the capacity is identical at 40 rounds, it fires all 40 rounds continuously. There's no manual switch to go from inside to outside, so that's epic. A little comment on that, I think the XSHOT Turbo Advance has the 2 layers of 20 to keep the cylinder size down. As you can see, the Magnum is way wider. And if this were pump action, your hand would be sort of rubbing all over this giant cylinder because it's so effing big. It's a very efficient use of space as far as the barrels go. They're very close together. There's very little dead space. There's no built-in air restrictor, so they're able to compress it quite a bit. It's just an inherent con of having a wheel that has this high capacity, unless you double layer it like the Turbo Advance. But when you're top priming up here, you don't really have to reach around. Yeah, the old reach around. So it's not that big an issue. And more importantly, it allows you to pew pew nonstop for 40 rounds, which is a lot, especially for the cost. At retail, $20 US. Getting to the next pro, price. Turbo Advance, I believe, retails for about $30 US. The Magnum, $20 US. $10 less expensive for more or less the same performance as far as capacity, rate of fire, propulsion type, all the overall mechanism, pretty similar. And to the last pro, smaller in some dimensions. It's more of an SMG or pistol size. It's not really a full primary, so if you wanted to carry it on a sling, the cylinder is going to be bouncing around because it's, again, huge. But in most uses of the word, it is smaller than the Turbo Advance, which is the last pro, in my opinion. So those are the pros of the Magnum and the Turbo Advance. If you want pro and con list, just go watch the reviews on each of them. That's not really what this series is about. The con list is pretty much the inverse of the pro list, so you can figure it out. Get that comment a lot on my Versus episode. So which one is better, the Magnum or the Turbo Advance? In my opinion, the Magnum. Bonus points for having Magnum as the name. I mean, that's pretty intimidating. If only you added 4 extra rounds, so it's like a Magnum 44, just pew pew. And that gun doesn't go pew pew, it goes pew pew! There's a difference. Why did I choose the Magnum? Slam fire, continuous fire, all 40 rounds, and it's also 20 bucks instead of 30 bucks. If I field a blaster like this, I want to go fast and I want to fling foam as fast as I can. Slam fire allows me to do that. Pump action slam fire would allow me to do it a little bit faster and probably more accurately. As I'm using my left hand to pull this back, my right hand's accuracy is going to suffer a little bit. If I had that extra point of contact while I'm pumping, I could maintain a better level of accuracy and still spew foam at a crazy rate. But again, with the drum of this size, it would be cramped and you'd be scratching your forearm all up on there. For hardcore nerfers who want to buy magazines and upgrade their gear and have like quite a bit of money invested in their loadout, I recommend Flywheel Master Race, heck yeah, with in-strike magazines. And that's kind of like my go-to recommendation when a lot of people ask me, you know, hey Frank, what should I buy? But the Dart Zone Magnum is still my #1 recommended blaster for somebody who says, you know, I don't want to spend a whole lot, but I want a lot out of it. Because you don't have to buy magazines, you don't have to buy any extra gear. It's compatible with Nerf Elite darts and pretty much every other micro dart that you could run into. It doesn't require batteries or any other add-ons. It's just simple. It'd be a great loaner, it's a great starter blaster, and you'll still go back to it even if you do step up into like magazine systems with Flywheel Master Race. Flywheel Master Race, woo! Need to shoot that on a green screen so I can just add it on like Flywheel Master Race, woo! But the Dart Zone Magnum is still just one of my highly recommended blasters. It's just a phenomenal package, especially dollar for dollar. But that's just the assessment under my nerfing values. You're welcome to disagree if you think the Turbo Advance is better, but I think they're both pretty solid blasters. The XSHOT Turbo Advance versus the Dart Zone Magnum, in my opinion, the Dart Zone Magnum. And that's this episode of Versus. If you have any requests for future episodes of Versus, leave a comment in the section below. Thanks so much for watching, bros, and as always, stay tactical.